Hey, it's Chris with Just for Flips. I got Templeton Walker here, and super excited about this conversation, and mainly super excited about this conversation just because I've seen some transition in like your social media. I mean, you kind of always been the comedian on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the what's the beer
The
commercial?
natural light, the natural light video. That was a good one.
Yeah, the natural light video. I think that was kind of like the first. I think Jack sent it to me. Like, check this one out. So that was kind of fun. But then, like, and you've always put out good time. I mean, the natural light video was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that was all the way back in like 19 or 20. So
yeah, so that one obviously, and you put out some other ones, also. But then. Just recently you've kind of changed up the whole model. So like you've been going strong for 3 years, and you and Miguel were putting out quite a bit of content there for a minute.
Dude, we even started a content company for a minute, which even helped you guys for a short minute. It was a mess. Like it was, sometimes you can get so polished that it like doesn't slap anymore. Like it doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I felt like it was like, we were trying to make it so good that it wasn't that good. Like that, the actual value wasn't coming through. So that's what I've tried to focus on.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in a minute, but let's just start. Let's back up for just 3 to 5 minutes for everybody. Let's get started from where you started, how you got into this space, how you grew to where it is today, and then we'll come back. So wait for that.
Yeah, I think the frame matters. Like, why even listen to me, right? So 11 years ago, became a realtor. I had a son at 18, so I floundered from 18 to 25, like unemployable. Like I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. It wasn't as in vogue the way it is now with social media.
Right.
But my aunt is an amazing realtor up in Prescott and was like, hey, Temp, do this. Like you have the personality for it. She's like, I'll pay for school if you pay me back on your first deal.
Yeah.
And I think my second or third month, I made like 17 grand, which was like more money than I made the entire year prior. Cause I just wasn't having a lot of traction in life. And I was like, oh, I love this.
And just to be clear, 18 to 25, not everybody gets a lot of traction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That makes me feel a little better. Yeah, I was just a, kind-hearted, hardworking, and, a good guy, but just I had a lot of ideas, not a lot of action.
Yeah.
And I remember being 25 and kind of looking in the mirror, and I burned another bridge and another job. And I was like, dude, who are you going to be? Like, who do you really want to become? Because no one's coming to save me. Like, I used to dream about winning the lotto, and I didn't even buy lotto tickets. I'm like, that's a broken.
That doesn't work.
That's the broken system.
Someone's going to win and hand it to you.
Yeah. I'm like, but I thought I was special. I thought, I thought it was going to be brought to me or given to me. And then that's just not the way life works. So, but I was talented, but I had never just really put it into gear and got it into motion. So at 26 or 25 or 26, I become a realtor, took to it pretty fast. Became a big realtor quickly. I had a team. I had Templeton Group. Figured out what wholesaling was in 2016, 17. And I was like, oh, this is the thing.
Did you take a course, or did you just kind of like, what is this? Someone just did that to my listing. What just happened?
Exactly. No, I was at KW Realty Phoenix. There was a good friend of mine. Not a lot of people know about him, but we call him KK. His name's Kevin LaTurner, and he was wholesaling some deals. And he's just a solo guy, and he knew the science of it, right? And this is in 15 or 16, I can't remember exactly, when not everyone knew what wholesaling was yet. It was like some ninja tactics. I'm like, what are you doing? Because I was selling $40-50 million a year and not keeping a lot of money. That's kind of the dirty secret with real estate teams that they don't tell you. Is like, oh, they sold 100 million. Dude, you don't, like, there's so much cost and expense oh, you don't make that much. So I was like, I needed something to increase my profitability. So I found that, figured it out. I'm a big believer in, take your small boat and tie it to a bigger boat. So at that time I had found Jamil, and I was bringing him deals for like a year.
Right.
And watching what he was doing and learning in the process, and I got to make half the money. So it was a great trade, and I suggest people do that all the time. It's the model you and I do now, right?
Yeah.
People bring you stuff, people bring me stuff. I always say, bring an ingredient, I'll cook the cake, and I'll teach you how to cook that cake. And over time, you'll know how to do it on your own. But I think you and I bring so much value to those partners. They just keep bringing it because we make it so easy on them.
Well, yeah, it's like if you have the ability to dispo a house, like a lot of people just learn the acquisition side of the business, right? Mm-hmm. Very people learn both sides of the business. But if you've got a good dispo system or dispo team or dispo partner, you don't ever really need to learn that part of the business.
No, you don't need to. Like, and so for me, I mean, you and I, and it's really my business partner, Miguel, and your son, Jack, they work really closely together every day. So it's me and you working together, but it's through them.
Yeah.
I mean, we still go do 10 deals a month together, which is really cool to be sitting here with you, because in my learning from Jamil early on, I met other people, right? And I met other big players, because I was like a hustler. Like, dude, you kind of know how I am. Like, if you give me a task, like, I want to win.
Right.
So I like did a lot of deals, and I started meeting people like yourself, and then you mentored me and helped teach me, like, hey, Temp, that's not a deal. Because I was just like putting myself in crazy spots, and then going to you and be like, hey, bro, and you'd be like, all right, I'll save you. So like, I remember you helped me wholesale a few that I was like on my final day, on my final hour, and then you kind of like put your arm around me. You're like, hey, we're going to be all right. And you would help me solve it. But I learned. So I learned wholesaling. As I started to get more money, I really learned fix and flip, which was a great venture for me, because learning that renovation process allowed me to start building like a rental portfolio through the Burr model. So I own 35 houses. We wholesale a ton.
Yeah.
I still fix and flip a lot. Eventually I had enough files where I vertically integrated. I own the title company. I have a joint venture with Magnus.
Okay.
Lending. Yeah. So kind of everything that a lead could need, I have a way to monetize, but even more important than the monetization is I have a way to control the client experience.
Yeah. Well, that fix and flip model, as you see a volume, when you don't see a huge volume across your desk, it doesn't make sense. But when you see, a decent volume across the desk and you're just like, yeah, I can make 15, 20 on this wholesale deal, but like with the right potential, it makes 100 on a fix and flip, right?
Yeah, I try to have a 4x multiply on my wholesale. So if my wholesale fee is going to be a third of what a fix and flip, I'm probably going to wholesale. Yeah. So let's just say a 20 grand wholesale, it needs to be an 80 grand flip for me to start considering it.
Right.
Otherwise, go make the 20, move on.
Right.
Right. Sell to a really good buyer, give them a great deal where they can go make some money. If I start to see like a 5x multiple, I'm going to really consider flipping that, because 100 is way different than 20.
For sure.
And I have the skill set, I have the crews, I have the capital. So why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But in June of 2022, got caught with 32 projects, some of them luxury, like our Lawrence one was the biggest one. I didn't have enough rules around what I said yes to, and I didn't have enough rules around how much capital I wanted to outlay into a single endeavor.
I mean, it changed your arm, right?
Guys, liquidity matters.
Liquidity matters. It's a learning lesson for a lot of people in this business, and especially, I belong to a mastermind, and the big part of the fourth quarter of 2023 was like, how did you do? How did you do in the fourth quarter of 2023? And it was like, oh, I'm getting crushed. And I'm sitting here thinking in the back of my mind is like, you just had a preview in 2022. So how did you let it happen to you again in 2023?
Yeah.
And
human beings are insane.
So it was just like but I also forget, having been in the business for 23 years and having been through the financial crisis, that a lot of people didn't get to play in that world. Mm-hmm. And I actually saw just one of your reels rolling across my Instagram.
There you go.
It was like the financial crisis was the number one hard time.
Yeah.
This was number two.
Yeah. That's true. It was the Great Recession. 2008 was the worst. Great Depression was second.
Yeah, I wasn't alive in those, so I didn't pay attention.
The last 12 months, though, were the third hardest market we've ever experienced per transaction count.
Yeah.
Like,
the volume's way down.
Whatever we just went through is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, 2008, but I was selling women's shoes at Nordstrom. Yeah. I was already broke. I didn't even know what a house was.
Yeah.
So, like, whoever's still in this game right now, congrats. Like, kudos to you. Like, you just got through some heavy stuff. But now it's like, okay, the sun, I think, is starting to come out. I don't want to be too bullish, but like, I think fix and flippers and wholesalers and investors got to understand, you don't make money doing nothing. So you got to do something.
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been trying to navigate and help people navigate.
Yeah. I've been trying to Since that conversation that I heard in the mastermind, I'm just trying to, like, my most recent reels are just about, hey, it's all about seasonality. Like, guess what? When you have a great, increase in value over a 10, 12-year period, even if you listed in October, you were fine because you sold into January, prices went up, everything was going up, everything was good, and you didn't actually probably see that red line on that fix and flip. I mean, you maybe probably broke even. You're like, oh, I just did that for no money. That wasn't fun.
I would have loved to do that. All of my flips for no money in 22.
Yeah, but now you actually see it where you see, oh, I got to write a check on this one. It's a little different feeling, right? It's like, especially if you're writing multiple checks on multiple houses.
I had in 23, I had a 4-week stretch. I remember where the one thing I did well is I had a lot of my own capital. I would borrow the acquisition, but I would fund the renos mostly with my own money.
Yeah.
And there was a 4-week period where I was working with my business coach at the time, Brett Tanner, who's a smart dude. He's awesome. And every 2 weeks, essentially our phone calls, he would be like, Temp, do you want to own that asset at an 8% rate and stabilize it? Like a townhome in McCormick Ranch for 1.2. Do you really want to?
Yeah.
That we both know is worth $1 million, 900 maybe?
Yep.
Do you want to own that? No. All right, reduce price and move on. And to reduce price and move on meant I had to finally accept I'm going to go lose money on this deal, because I had never lost money on a deal because we'd only been in an up market. Like I literally had never lost. And a 4-week period, I lost 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 4 weeks in a row. And I was just like, you want to talk about a test of like will? And thank God I had the money in the deals.
Yeah.
I didn't have to bring new money.
Yeah.
It was just
the rehab money that you're not
the
getting
rehab.
back.
Yeah. It just didn't come back.
Yeah.
And the lessons I learned in that experience were invaluable. And that was a year of that, right? That's just 4 of them. Like, there was a year of that.
So that was 2023, not even 2022, because we talked a little bit about like
2020, June of 2022 is when it started.
Yeah.
Q3 and Q4 of 2022
were painful times.
Were painful. Q1 and Q2 and Q3 of 23 also were pretty painful. Q4, we wholesaled our way out of it though. So I had all these losses. The title company kept doing well. I would do some traditional deals, and me and Miguel and Rodolfo at the time, we wholesaled our way out. So we had plenty of cash flow, and it just sucked because we were making so much money still, and we didn't keep any of it. It was just like, it would come in and
pay the bills.
It had to go out. It had to go out. In that process, we also renovated a commercial building for the first time. We bought an old bar, turned it into our headquarters. That was great. We thought that would take 9 months. It took 2 years.
Yeah. Permitting? Is that?
Oh my God. Instead, I could have they always say your guru has a Lamborghini. I have a sprinkler system is what I have. Wait till you got to buy a fire suppression system for a commercial building. You're like, how much is this? Yeah. Like, it's insane. But I mean, went through all that, stabilized all assets. So like every asset now is either stabilized or gone.
Yeah.
What I love the most is we were running fat because we were making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of overhead and a lot of staff, and we got off of all of it. So now it's me, Miguel, and an assistant.
Yeah.
Like I can run my whole thing for $6,000.
It's nice to be pretty lean. Everybody's like, a lot of people ask me like, how many people do you have over there? Because I think our number was 408 deals in 2023 and 442 deals in 2022.
Yeah.
They're like, how many people do you have over there?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, and we have Jack and Max, but actual people on payroll is a loan processor for the hard money business,
mm-hmm.
An office manager, a TC, and a dispo guy.
Yeah. Like 100 deals per person. That's amazing. Well, and that's the thing that people don't like. Volume or gross is your vanity metric, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about your net income, because that's what matters.
Yeah.
Right. And I think dollar for dollar net income, Miguel and I have landed on it's the deals that Miguel and Jack do every week, and you and I do together, is like, there's no cost on them. They're referral based, they're relationship based for the most part. And we go print, like, me and Miguel, we go do 150 every month.
Yeah.
On very little spend.
I mean, built like the network is a network. The return on investment on referral business is awesome. You're not paying for leads. You're not actually spending your time calling. You're just actually, making money.
Well, and I think what a lot of people fail to know or understand is like, I scaled up. We had 70 cold callers. We had 8 acquisition guys. And that was great when the hedge funds were buying and we were doing 30 deals a month and the volume was awesome. But I made more money in that time, but not so much more than what I make now for it to be worth it. Like you can go if you understand how to go get a handful of deals a month, even just 2 or 3 with one assistant or a VA, you can go make 30, 40 grand with no stress.
Yeah.
And it really have a lifestyle-based business. So I think people got to decide, what do they want?
And it's really like in that method you're talking about, it's like, it's not like you're cranking 8 to 10 hours a day to do that.
Dude, I work from 9 to 1 every day. Yeah. I take the kids to school. I just dropped off the boys.
Oh, so you're only going to get 3 hours worth of work in today.
Yeah. Well, this is work though. This was a key relationship. And so for me, it's like pouring into key relationships. Have you ever read the book, Mr. Schmooze?
I haven't.
Dude, you do it really well. Mr. Schmooze is like this dude. It's a story about a relationship-based selling. So like your key accounts, let's say you and we're actually closing a deal together right now.
Right.
The guys are working on, we'll probably split 30 grand. On your end, you should be figuring out, holy shit, so thankful for Temp and Miguel and what they did. On our end, we're so thankful for you guys, the collaboration. I know that you're a Suns fan. I know that you like this tequila. I know this is important to you. And the moment that check arrives, it comes with like a goodie bag of like, Chris, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate you, right? And we're probably not doing that anymore because we're doing so many deals. We'd be sending each other goodie bags like every day. But let's just say you do that sort of thing with a one-off person.
Right.
They're a client for life.
Yeah.
They're like, how do they know I was a Padres fan and that I like this drink and my kids are into this? If you go spend $300 after you just made 15 grand, I think that's a money well spent.
Yeah, I'm a little older, but I was the networking king. Do you even remember our lunch at Applebee's?
Oh yeah, of course I remember, dude. Of course
I would coffee meeting, lunch meeting, whatever. Just if there was an opportunity to get in front of somebody, it was like because we didn't have Instagram, and I mean I think Facebook was around, but I didn't even know what Instagram was back then.
Dude, yeah, that was like 2016, probably 15. And I remember, I mean, it was a big deal to have lunch with you, and you took the time to spend with me because I was the type I would ask for the time, and I would be like, if someone like yourself was going to take time with me, I was going to make it worth your while. And I was like, tell me what to buy, tell me what to find, and I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
And I brought you a ton of deals, right?
Yeah.
So I always remember that.
Let's fast forward to this new venture because like I don't follow like a bunch of people on Instagram. Like I guess, let's say I don't pay attention to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. They're on there, but you're like, all right, what are you saying?
Yeah. Like even some bigger names in the business, I'll scroll right past them. But like I've seen you, like I said, back to the Natural Light commercial back in, we call it 19 or 20. Miguel was putting out a lot of content there for a minute consistently. And I think that's what it takes is consistency. And but just recently, you've seen a big growth. I see because you see the number of plays, and I'm just like, holy. That was just a small agent hack that is like that I've done 9,000 times.
Yeah, and you're like, well, and some of my stuff's now getting 300,000 views or 80,000 views or 120,000 views, which is really cool. So do you want me to dive into like what the change has been?
Like what was your mindset shift, if you will, and like what was there was something that said, okay, I'm going to do this, and and what made the change? Because you've been doing it for. I'm going to just, like I said, I watch and I pay attention, and like I probably know more about the numbers, like how many people have following you versus Templeton Walker. I'll remember more about the followers than the person's name, just because numbers click with my head better.
Yeah,
but I want to say it was 7,000. I'm not trying to be insulting at all.
No, I only had I had 5,600 people.
Yeah.
Like 45 days ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm almost I'll probably cross 20. I'm gaining like 1,000 a day.
Okay.
So I'll probably cross 23,000 today. And what I like about it is it's not the biggest audience, but it's the deepest. Like I am only speaking to realtors at this point. So like everyone that's choosing to follow me is a realtor for the most part, from what I can see. Cause you can see who's following you and it's like, you can click, you can see who they are.
Right.
They're real people. They're in the business and they are realtors. And what I had decided 6 weeks ago, I was telling you prior, I was rereading $100 million offers, $100 million leads by Hermosi, and social media has been a weird thing for me. So like 4 years ago, in 2018, I had a bigger Instagram. I had about 20,000 followers.
Okay.
And it was like, I was kind of early. It was kind of like me, Pace, Jamil. I was kind of like maybe even a little ahead of those guys to a degree as far as influence. They've gone to the moon, right? They've crushed it. But at that time, I was like big on Instagram, I guess you would say. But I felt like I had built it wrong. Like I felt like I was like, it felt heavy. It didn't feel light. It didn't feel like, I felt like I was almost like peddling something I wasn't congruent with. And I hit this moment in life where I deleted the account. I didn't deactivate it. I deleted it, which in hindsight was dumb. But it was also a blessing because I got off social media for like 6 months.
Okay.
And when I came back, I was like, if I build this again, I'm only going to share my truth, my life, and like what's valuable to me. Cause I'm really balanced with my wife and kids and being healthy and just feeling good. Well, the reality is, dude, I'm not Joe Rogan. No one really cares about my esoteric interests of, I'm in the sauna every day in the afternoon in the cold water and I go for my walks and my runs and I meditate. I do all this weird shit. No one really cares.
It's not weird shit. That's good shit. But
it's the best stuff, right? But I almost felt like I was validating my life through this app.
Right.
Like that, oh, look at me. I am this wise young soul or something. I don't know. And it never really clicked. Like I had 5,000 or 6,000 good followers and I think I was a really great follow, but I wasn't delivering true value. I was pretty much just giving a window into my life. So 6 weeks ago, I was like, all right, if I'm going to spend time away from the real world, my wife, my kids, my friends, real tangible human beings, if I'm going to go into this social media matrix, which that is what it is, I'm going to play the game to win. So I said, who's my avatar? It's realtors. Realtors send me the best deals. And we're launching education called the Realtor Doctors, me and Miguel. And if you want to send me deals, great. And if you want to learn how I do what I do, these are the two things I can offer.
Right.
Nothing else. And I'm only going to speak to realtors. So I decided I'm going to speak to realtors and I'm going to give them the freaking best value that I can in these reels. Like I'm going to hit them with punchy, like the stuff that really makes me $100,000 a month.
If you can actually implement this, you can make money.
Like straight up. I'm not telling you any fluff. Like I do this every day and it makes me X. Here's the formula.
Yeah.
And like in my caption, I'll break down, like yesterday I did an MAO offer. Like how do you find MAO, max allowable offer?
Yeah.
I broke it down real quick. That one, now if a video only...
With your girls, right?
Yeah, with my girls on their easel in the front yard. Yeah, my 2 and 3 year old are like, Dad. I'm like, girls, come on. Daddy's trying to be Insta value right here. But if you can learn that math equation I taught on my daughter's easel yesterday, you can make so much money in this game.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what agents have a hard time with is sometimes realtors, they get so bunched up in this realtor box, take a listing, sign in the ground. They're unwilling to, or they don't know how to see any other angles. I'm teaching them that.
Yeah. I always make a joke. It's like realtor, investor.
That's the truth, right? It's the two-hat approach.
Yeah. Most people don't know how to lift it off and switch it.
Yeah. And it's like, no, they gotta be, they're so, and I'm just like, guys, what most realtors and investors, quite frankly, need to understand is that wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, sub 2, novation, those are all just exit strategies. Those aren't businesses. They're just exit strategies. If you can get good at acquiring the deal and underwriting it and understanding what's possible, that's a business.
Yeah.
Because a listing might make the most sense. And what most realtors, what I teach and what Realtor Doctors is going to teach them at a high level is that the investor leads become your listing leads. Because most people don't want to sell for 60, 70 cents on the dollar.
Nope.
But if they want to sell, well, let's pivot to agency. And that's when the hat goes from backwards to forwards.
Exactly.
And we go, guys, there's money to be made here. It's just not by me. I can give you $300,000 and I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
But I also could go sell this for $450 today. Even after my fees, you're going to make an extra $120. let's go this route, guys. Give me 60 days. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
And all those leads now zero base your realtor business. So your cost is sitting on your investor side P&L. It's just like the most beautiful system. It's like, it works.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to, like, we talked about PPC before we got online, but if you're going to spend the money, and I mean, average cost in Phoenix is $250 to $300 for that lead.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to spend the money, you should know how to monetize it.
Yeah, because if you're not looking at you got to have a menu of options, because sellers have unique things. And if you're only thinking listing, and I struggle when realtors are like, only true fiduciaries, they always go to market. And I'm like, dude, you've never walked in some of these houses you and I have walked in.
Yeah.
If you really think that.
The 19 cat house.
Yeah, you think that that's the best option for them, you're naive to what is happening in this other world. So yeah, I'm excited. So that's the two-prong approach. That's why the social media has taken off, and like genuine. And here's the other thing. I'm a pretty good freestyler.
Yeah.
Like I can give you good content off the top, but that's a dangerous place to be, because the enemy of great is good. And if I want to give you great content, I need to plan a little bit, and I'm not like this. So dude, these reels, I know it doesn't look like it sometimes. I am writing a script. I am really thinking about the hook. You know, what in the first 3 seconds is going to make you stay for the next 10?
Right.
So then you have a mid hook. Is there something of value 10 seconds in that makes you stay a bit longer? Right? So like I am laying these out and spending time and energy all weekend. I'm thinking about my Monday video like, oh dude, I got to have a banger. Because now I'm competitive. If I only get 10,000 views, which in the past I would have been like, that's a great video.
I've only gotten one that's for over 10,000, just so you know.
So now if I only get 10, I'm like, it was like a flop.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man. Because I want, I've tasted the 300,000, the 140,000. Like, I'm like, I want those views.
Yeah.
And that's where the growth really comes. So, but that all starts with, don't worry about the result. If I deliver value every day, if I just deliver value, I'm going to be just fine.
So do you have a chart? What's the goal? 5 reels a week, 10 reels a week?
So I'm now going to a reel every day again. For a minute, I went to 3 because I read something that like the algorithm rewards like 3 quality reels a week. But I have found that I slowed down a little bit since then because I did that for 2 weeks. I'm 6 weeks into this, right? Yeah. So I don't know.
Hey, you've tripled?
Oh, quadrupled from 5 to 23.
Yeah.
So 4x, 4 almost 5x. And the most important thing, Chris, is it's the exact person I want. Like I don't have 23,000 who knows who's. I have 23,000 people that can send me real estate deals now or can buy my education and change their life.
Yeah.
That's the exact avatar I want. So we launched our Realtor Doctor wait list. And dude, there's a huge wait list. There's a huge appetite for what I'm going to deliver. I'm not going to convert all those people.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have people. I mean, I'll get 100 DMs a day of like, please coach me, please mentor me. And I'm like, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things I do. And I'm excited because I did 2 things. I also tested with 2 friends that are realtors, one in the Triad area, North Carolina, one in Baton Rouge, Stephen Cuvion and Spencer Harrell. They both kind of twisted my arm to coach them personally.
Yeah.
Undercharged them. Like I charged them like 10 grand. Like for one-on-one coaching with me, that's not enough.
Yeah.
But I charged them like 10 grand for these 30-minute phone calls. And I'm not kidding. Within their first month, Steven's going to do over 67,000. And he's a successful realtor.
Yeah.
So this isn't his commissions and the money he was already going to make.
This is on top. This is the gravy.
67 grand of gravy in his first month.
Yeah.
Spencer, $52,000 of gravy in his first month. So do you think it's valuable to learn how I do what I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I decided if I was ever going to coach, it can't be fugazi. It can't be fake. Like I have to sleep well at night knowing I'm giving them the tools and the opportunity to go make a lot of money off whatever they invest.
Yeah.
But I also need it to be enough money where it makes sense for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do a 97
So you're going to take
program.
on group coaching? Because there's different coaching models out there. There's a group coaching model and there's a one-on-one coaching model. What does that look like?
So we're still deciding. So we're going to lay out everything in mine and Miguel's brain into a course. So you'll have that. So you'll have an evergreen place that, just like when you get salespeople in your one thing, you put them in your sales course.
Yeah.
Because it lives there and it's value.
Yeah.
So like everything I know how to do and Miguel knows how to do will go into a course, module, PDFs. Like that thing will be gold. So much value. But then as you want more, you can spend more money if you want more of the weekly and accountability. So group calls will likely be a higher package. And like if you ever got to like a one-on-one call with me, that's gonna be really expensive. But I know for a fact I can change your life and your business financially.
Yeah.
So then one-on-one calls will be there. And then we would probably do like a twice a year retreat where you could fly out, spend some money. Cause I think it's really valuable when people get near the person they're aspiring to model.
Right.
And when I've had a few people fly out and spend a weekend with me before, and the thing that they took the most out of was the way I was with my kids, my schedule, my cold plunge, my sauna. They were more like enamored by that than the fact that we made 30 grand a day.
So I've been in the coaching space for 6 years, more of on the higher end.
Yeah, you do a high ticket.
Yeah, more of a high ticket. But what I've learned in my coaching business is it takes that schedule. It takes that consistency. It takes that daily motivation. And it's hard. It's actually very hard for me as a coach because it's built into me. So I don't have to do it. Like there's not something that I have to do every day when I wake up. It's just, it's ingrained. Right?
Yeah. Like it is who you are.
Right. So, but when you see somebody that pays you that high ticket dollar and they don't have that built in, it's probably one of my toughest things that I deal with in coaching because I can't train that. I can't teach that. I can't.
Yeah. You either got the drive. So there's a saying like, I can't take a zero to a hero, but if you have the ingredients, I can teach you the recipe.
Yeah.
Like, but you at least have to have the ingredients.
Yeah.
Like you probably have them out of order and you have no idea what to cook. But if they're inside of you, we can organize it correctly and get you there.
Yeah.
But if you have nothing, if you have no innate desire to like get after it, I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
You got to find some internal, and I can give you some triggers and some beliefs, and hopefully we can spur you into that. But at the end of the day, deciding to put in effort is an internal decision.
Yeah.
So that is.
I literally have a student that came in for maybe 12 calls. Little tweak here, 7-figure guys. And you got other guys that will, every call for the entire year
is like pulling teeth.
And they're still like on deal 2 or 3.
Yeah, like how do I comp? How do I well, and you can lead a horse to water, right? But you can't make them drink. And I think for me that it was when I finally, because I've had people ask me to coach for a long, long time, and I said no, because I do well in my day-to-day business. Yeah. So I was like, it just felt heavy. And I'm finally at a spot where I'm like, all right, I can deliver this thing that I know how to do. I can deliver better than anyone. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm ready. But with that, I want some sort of vetting process to a degree to be like a disclaimer of sorts, to be like, this only works if you work.
Yeah.
Like there's no silver bullet here. It works. But I always tell my boys, because they're athletes and you grew up, athlete, you played college basketball and Jack. Like I tell my boys, like Daddy could walk in the Suns locker room and be the best at 3 things. And they're like, no, you couldn't. I'm like, for sure. 3 things I 100% could be the best at. They're like, what? Dribbling, shooting? I'm like, no. My attitude, my energy, and my effort.
Yeah.
They could be world class. I could be better than every person you've ever met. So if you can control those variables, that's a sign of someone that's going to go be successful. But I've found it's rare. It's rare to find people that have that sort of like.
Yeah, you see people on their stumbling blocks. I think Justin Colby just did Justin's one of the people I watch too. He's like, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up, right?
Yeah, dude, and he's a stud.
Yeah,
and it's great. You know what else too is like, there's so much good advice out there. Like, who are you willing to listen to internalize and take action.
Yeah.
But like, I suffer from this too sometimes. I love reading. Like I listen to books a lot and I have a stack next to my bed. And sometimes I'm so quick to the next book, I never really implemented the first one, right? And it's like, sometimes just slow and steady is the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady, layer in a good tactic. Like you said, little tweak here, add in some MLS comping, add in some pre-foreclosure and some calling leads, add in a little bit of paper lead or some PPC. Make sure that you hold yourself accountable to go to a networking event once a week. Make sure that you do a social media post asking for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're starting to do the right things. I feel like people just think it's like some crazy equation, and it's like, no, it's the right things done every day.
Yeah, it's just it's that consistent, like I said, the motivation and the consistency. I feel like if you have those two things, like you said, just plug in the right ingredients.
Yeah, I'll teach you the recipe.
Yeah. Has
the coaching for you been fulfilling? I'm hoping it's going to be massively fulfilling for me, or has it been more frustration?
It's very interesting. With the guy that launched and crushed it, like that was awesome. When someone sends me a text and they're like, just hammered one, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't know, I think I have a little bit too much of a conscience for the ones that, you
don't feel like they're going to be successful.
They don't get there. And I've just recently, like before it was like, you want to sign up for coaching? Yeah. I've just recently gone, I just don't think this is for you.
Yeah.
Because it drains me. When they come in and they just don't have that motivation, they don't have that consistency, and I'm just like,
that 30, 50, 60, whatever the price point is, isn't worth you having to feel like
I feel guilty.
Like so that was huge. So I don't know if you saw on my social, I didn't feel well like 3-4 months ago. I had like some health stuff.
Yeah.
And I think my body finally shut down after like the heavy 1.5 years of the flipping company and all that.
Yeah.
And I've never dealt with stress or anxiety, but apparently I was dealing with stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
And what I had to do was I went and took a picture of my brain and my heart, and I did all this stuff to make sure I was good. Because, dude, I was having a perpetual headache and a little bit of dizziness. So after months of that, you start to be like, I have a brain tumor. I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. I know this. This is where my brain was, right? So I took that all off the plate and said, okay, let's make sure I'm good. And I was good. Got my blood work done. So I'm like, all right, obviously something's happening inside of me. And I just slowed down. I started going for 2 walks a day. And I go to the gym and I do all this stuff. But I just started going for walks without headphones, just me thinking. And in those walks, I started to realize that I was obligated to things that I wasn't in alignment with, that didn't feel good. And typically I was obligated to them for the potential of more money. But when I got to the core, I already have enough money. I make enough money in my day-to-day stuff. So why am I doing anything that I'm not in alignment with that is stressing me? You know, I had a plumbing company. I had the media company. Yeah. I had an insurance company. And all of these things, although they were actually making some revenue, they were just draining me. Because if I just go wholesale a few contracts with Miguel, fix and flip a few houses with my dad, let the title company get some contracts. T Group, I got acquired by Kenny Klaus, so Kenny's does that now, and I'm off of it. And then I'm launching Realtor Doctors, where I'm just trying to bring as much value as I can to realtors. If I do those 4 things, I make plenty of money.
Yeah.
All of it's in my zone of genius. I'm not out here trying to fucking figure out a P&L on a plumbing company.
Yeah.
And it's light. So.
And I think that's the balance of everything. And we'll kind of end the podcast with this, but it's just like, you know, there's a balance in money, and we all like money.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take more of it, but what do I have to do for it?
Yeah. And then, but just like the balance of like, you know, I'm not willing to hard press again. You know, I'm just not. At 52, I'm not willing to go start up some giant company or anything like that. I'm just like, I know that Jack and Max can, you know, make some money. We got the hard money company. You know, I didn't get the NBA contract. I didn't get the lottery ticket, but I also don't care. And I also know that if a student comes in that I think is going to be a stress on me, I'd rather just not take it.
Yeah. What I want to ask you before we end, just as advice, like where you see me at 36, what would you do? Like, I mean, because I think I have it in me to go big.
No, you have it in you to go big for sure.
But I don't know that that's the answer. So how do maybe it is the answer. I don't know. But if you're me, I guess I'm asking like, because I have good balance, I have good income. Do I just keep staying steady Eddie, or do I scale some?
No, I mean at 36, I think you scale some, but obviously having the right team in place. Like obviously, the one-on-one calls you can't leverage that.
Yeah,
you can't leverage. So that's why it's worth that higher ticket.
Yeah, it better be a
higher ticket. Whereas the group you can leverage because you can get multiple people on a call at the same time, and or if you can bring on a sub coach, obviously that's you look at some of probably the bigger,
it's the Tom Ferry model, right?
Yeah, like, the bigger guys like the Ryan Pineda guys. He's not even on the top line coaching model. Ryan's not getting on the phone, right? Or even look at Justin Colby's model. Like he was, did that science of flipping, but he now has sub coaches. So like if you're bringing on the newer guy or you're bringing on somebody that like, they don't actually probably get on the phone with Justin until they.
Yeah, you gotta. But I do think you need those. And I have a lot of like really talented people that I think. Coaching and being successful takes two things. You got to have the stake, like the how. Do you actually know how to do this?
Yeah.
But you got to have the sizzle. Like, are people interested in learning from you?
Yeah.
I have both, but I'm not. It's hard to scale that. So there's some people in my life that I know they're trying to do coaching and stuff, and they're awesome investors and realtors, but no one's listening to them.
Yeah.
So I could probably implement them as a sub coach or something like that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's so many as at your level and our level. It's there's so many simple things that you don't want to repeat 100 times.
Oh my God!
But they're simple things, like
but they matter.
But they matter, and you have to relay it to. And people are at different levels of their real estate journey, right? So
right.
Just getting as you scale, getting those pieces. Just like you weren't a plumber, but you can own a plumbing company, right?
Yep.
But you can start this out and you can launch it, and having you as the person behind the mic is going to be important. But for you to actually scale it,
then I got to have help.
You got to have help, and keep the balance in the life that you're looking for. And the balance, I do my podcast with Luke, and I see you guys, and you guys are at that younger kid stage, which I'm not at anymore. But keeping that balance at that time, I don't know if you saw my post about Jack playing basketball.
Yeah, I commented. I was like, my son just had a playoff game.
Yeah, so it's just like you got this window, and you don't ever get it back. Like I never get to go see Jack. Hoop it up again. So.
Oh no. Dude, it hits, and I think I've done a good job of keeping the season of life that I'm in the forefront.
Yeah.
Like I'm not at the evening meetups. I'm not because you know where I'm at? I'm at the soccer field and I'm at the basketball court.
Yeah.
So like whenever people are like, oh, there's a great thing tonight, 4 to 6. Well, if it's in the evening, I'm not there.
Yeah.
Because literally my kids have something every night and I don't miss.
Yeah.
And that's, have I left some relationships untethered, and have I left some money on the table? Probably.
Yeah.
But I've played all out with those kids.
Yeah. And that's what you are going to remember the most at the end of, when you're 70, that's what's
Did you
matter.
have to have a certain level of financial independence and freedom or income before you could really like look up and enjoy those moments, or do you now understand that better in hindsight?
No. So on all the kids, like the sporting events was like, I'm not the guy that's going to cuddle the 6-month-old. I mean, they're cute, but
Yeah.
wah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as soon as I got to like that, like 2 to 3, and you can start seeing them run around and all that. I was, I had Jack wakeboarding at 5. I would get the girls out there and whatever, and they both played volleyball, and it was just like for me, like I was at the sporting events. That was like my thing. Like I was in it. I would go. I was like that. You see My All American?
Yeah.
You remember that dad that was at the practice end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why would I drop the kid off and go away for 2 hours and come back?
Oh, I'm at the practices. Like
exactly.
Well, your kids see that. They feel that, right? Like they feel your presence.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Yeah, and it's still Jack obviously with a C student, and he's launched, and my daughter's going to clear $35,000 this month and as an agent. So like you're still coaching, right?
Yeah.
You're still coaching, but like it just is a different aspect. Like my daughter, my youngest, was my personal assistant, and she got to learn like the lingo and all the knowledge.
Hey, this is how me and Miguel talk about what we do. There's some science to it, but it's an art.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to like massage the deal. How does this end buyer feel? How does this buyer feel? How does this seller feel? How do you speak to this title rep? How do you arbitrage and create value?
Yeah.
That's a PhD that she received being your assistant.
Yeah. So now she got her loan officer because we have this entire sphere, but we don't have a loan officer in the sphere. Like, so I'm like, she's like, how do I fit in? I'm like, this is an avenue where.
Where's she hanging her license?
She just literally took her test like 3 or 4 days ago. So, but yeah, I think she's going to go, be a loan officer because she's got Max and Jack and me and Bridget and the whole family. And
and you can make some good money on it.
Yeah.
So I have a joint venture in lending too. And I started it last year, which is like the wrong time.
Yeah.
But it has no cost.
Yeah, but it'll come back.
Oh no,
it's all part
it has
of the
no
cycle.
cost. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's such a good, because it's easier to go find loans than it is to find transactions as a realtor, in my opinion. Because you get some refinance, you get stuff like that. And the market's going to come back. Dude, she's going to crush.
Yeah. I mean, it's just when you go from 3 to 7, it's like obviously there's going to be a downswing. Like, I'm still used to, why can't I get 3? Well, once everybody's mindset resets in a year, and it's like 6 and 7 is here to stay for a long time.
Yeah, which is, and over time, a 6% rate is actually solid.
Yeah.
Right. So I look at you though a lot, Chris, and I look at the relationship you have with Jack and your other kids, and I hope to have the same with, Kingston 17, and he has an entrepreneurial spirit, and he's always like, Dad, what? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna run the Jack model.
Yeah, no, but Jack kind of didn't think he wanted to, and then he kind of wasn't sure, and then I think he did a little bit like of kind of a W-2, and then he just like.
When you realize, wait, what can I make, and what sort of freedom can I have? Yeah. And if you think about what we do, like we're working right now. If you're great at this, you're cultivating and pouring into quality relationships.
Yeah.
That's how I've won. I don't cold call anybody. I don't grind. I just make friends, and I just serve. And like I have a few hundred people in town that know that they can rely on me. They can rely on my word. They know it's also, you got to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Like
you need to know how to price things.
And if you call me, I'm going to tell you what you got. And I'm going to say, hey, here's what you got. I can help. Or if you just want the information, go do your thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are like, I don't know. I'm like, cool, let's do it together. And we split the deal.
Yeah.
It's a great model.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for jumping on. This has been great.
Brother, dude, thanks for thanks for having me. And anytime I can get with you, it's always a yes.
Yeah. And if you have any questions on the coaching stuff,
I'm going to, because I don't know,
maybe I can help out.
All right, cool.
So,
all right, brother.
Cool.
Thank you.